We're getting a little negative, but not too negative, guys.
In a
In a
fun
fun
way.
way. In a fun way.
We're back! That's right. Nerdy and Nice is back in your ears, in your eyes, in your hearts. We took a little hiatus for a good reason. The Resistance broadcast has been chugging out 2 episodes a week in lieu of reviews like Light and Magic, our Andor live shows, and of course we went to Star Wars Celebration, so we did a recap on that. So it's been a bit since
It
we've been
has.
getting nerdy with everybody. But Lacey, feels good. Feels good to be back on Nerdy and Nice. Clean the palate a bit because Andor's been so heavy, and
It
talk
has
about
been, yeah.
some other stuff. So, how are you on this Monday?
I'm great, but after that beautiful intro, I feel bad because we're about to take another break from doing this. Are
Oh, we're gonna
we?
take a week off probably because we have to travel to San Francisco this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are going to Lucasfilm.
We are.
Yeah,
So we will not be recording.
yeah.
We will be
We
recording after the fact, which we're excited about
TR,
sharing our adventures.
TRB has never been to Lucasfilm, so it's a big deal for us. It's a first for us, so we're really excited for that. But we'll be back the following week on the 26th with a new episode, and then back with you every week as summer heats up. And with that,
More
come
movies and
more
stuff. Yeah.
movies, more shows, and all that stuff we'll get into. But we also are debuting a new segment tonight. We're going to try it out, see how you guys feel about it. It's really negative, so we're going to end on that note, but in a fun way, okay? So we'll show you what that is a bit later. But Lacey, to warm things up, let's just fire through these 3 because we have a lot of show to get to. And as we are recording this, we are burning the midnight oil, so to speak. But first thing, Thunderbolts comes out, does all right, hits like what their expectations were, and then they're like midway through the first week of release and like, just kidding, it's called the New Avengers. It's not Thunderbolts. My guess is that was planned because it had the asterisk next to Thunderbolts. But what are your quick thoughts on this?
I hate it. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak about the movie. I think that there's a lot of, we talk about this often online, a lot of hyperbole of, this is the best film since Endgame. This is the best thing. These characters are giving me life. Oh my God, I can't stop crying and screaming and throwing up about how great this movie is. And then you have a couple of people that were like, it was fine. It's all right. That's great, I guess. But it's hard to switch up the name, which what they did is they had the guy, Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky, walk around and replace the posters for marketing. And then they had them rip all the posters off to reveal this new sticker or put the sticker on the movie theater standees. Unique idea. I'll give it to them. That is cool. But why are you doing it a week after? Like, most people don't go to movies on the first weekend. They take a couple weeks to get there. So you've already ruined that for the audience that hasn't even been there yet. Like, not many people go for the first weekend of a movie.
Well, my thoughts was it was just, we're gonna do this, and our plan is to make these people that. So for the sake of marketing, to get more people butts in seats, because we're using the word Avengers. Hopefully that works. That's my take on it.
Oh, you said it was more of like a desperate, like, Hail Mary, get to this movie?
I don't want to say desperate because they did it just after the movie came out, and they did have the asterisk next to Thunderbolts the whole time, and people were wondering why. So it was clearly a plan, but I think part of that is, SEO and, telling Marvel fans, like, I know we put out 1 billion things, and you probably don't know a lot of these characters, but these are the new Avengers. And it reminds me of, like, anytime there's a new version of something that's not as good. Like, I remember like when the Extreme Ghostbusters cartoon came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be great because I love the real Ghostbusters, and it was terrible. It also reminds me of, like, it says American Pie, but it's straight to video, and the only returning character is Eugene Levy as the dad for 2 seconds, even though Jim's not in it. It's like, it's not American Pie. Don't say it's American Pie, but you're gonna call it American Pie. And No offense if you love Thunderbolts and if you love the new Avengers. I'm just saying, from that perspective, it feels a little like you're telling me it's important, but I'm not buying it. That's all I'm saying.
To me, it just feels forced more than anything else, and that's why I haven't been interested in Thunderbolts. I saw Black Widow. I thought it was pretty good. I love
I didn't like
Yelena.
Black Widow.
I thought it was pretty good. I loved Yelena, which is,
Florence
Florence
Pugh.
Pugh's character.
Yeah.
Her character's great. I loved her in Hawkeye, which I loved Hawkeye as well. I thought she was hilarious in that. That's where she catches the bottle and goes, "Hi." Like, I love that. I don't know what they were doing with her hair in this movie. Like, they gave her like this weird haircut and tried to make her more edgy or something. It was weird, especially because the other movies she has like this long, beautiful blonde hair. I know that they introduced new characters in this movie, but I think my feelings about this movie overall are going to play into a story into what's happening. So I'm going to hold my
Probably.
thoughts
All right.
because I think it correlates with that. But I will say that I do appreciate good marketing, and the next story is good marketing.
Yeah, so the popcorn bucket thing is taking on a life of its own. I got the Ghostbusters Trap one. I know there's a new Jaws one coming out. There's all sorts of really cool ones. The Dune one was very popular on social media for certain connotations. But this Mission Impossible one, you actually have to do some work to eat, and you have to put a key together and unlock it. So what are your thoughts? Quick thoughts on the Mission Impossible Final Reckoning popcorn bucket.
I thought it was more clever than a lot of the popcorn buckets I've seen. I still think they're overpriced and a little ridiculous, but I appreciate that they were like, look, if we're going to do this, let's do it. And I feel like Tom Cruise would appreciate this popcorn bucket and like probably had a say in it. And it's not just a big something with its mouth open. Like, he actually was like, no, it's got to be like a challenge that I have to do in a time frame. And I'm sure there's sound effects and stuff, but it's fun. I hope the best for this movie because the last one didn't do so great, I don't think. So I really want Tom to kind of get his good send off because I think this is the last one he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I heard because they only make a certain amount of these popcorn buckets, and like people are they go to the theaters just to buy them and stuff. So I heard in order to get one, you have to stay submerged underwater for 12 minutes, and then you can get one. That's what I heard. Dumb. Yeah.
No.
All right. Next, we have a story that Lacey liked.
I did like this story.
Charlie Cox said his parents were trying to get all caught up on the Daredevil, and instead of watching his new show, they watched Ben Affleck's 2003 film Daredevil.
So
and I guess it took them a while to realize it because he wears sunglasses and they both have brown hair and they're both white. But it's like, don't you know your own son? And don't you know Ben Affleck? And on the screen when it said starring Ben Affleck. But anyway, I'm not here to rag on the guy's parents, but I did think that was a pretty funny story that he had to correct his parents and let them know they were watching a 22-year-old movie.
Well, the best is that he said they go, this can't be right. And I was like, what? And they go, it doesn't even look like you. And he goes, that's right. That's Ben Affleck. Which Ben Affleck's been making the news a lot in the past week. He was also in the Criterion closet talking about Armageddon, about his commentary and how it's become this big thing that he didn't even realize was a big thing, but he says is his best work. That's what he said recently, is the commentary on Armageddon is his best work to date, and he's the most proud of it.
Great.
Which, John, you had tweeted about it, not realizing this clip was circulating, just on a whim, being like, yo, this commentary is amazing. And then I sent it to you being like, it was bizarre. It was like he had literally just talked about this. Very funny.
I've loved that commentary forever. I just love that he just goes for it and just attacks his own movie, and he does impressions of Michael Bay and stuff. Ben, this is real movie. This is real plan. It's like, so funny. But yeah, so pretty funny about Charlie Cox, and it's also crazy that I just said Daredevil is 22 years old. That movie.
I feel old.
Nuts. Yeah. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show, and we do that in our segment called What's Happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
As I hinted at the top of the show, One of our stories in what's happening this week, of course, because it always is about Marvel. Specifically, an interview that Kevin Feige did with the Wall Street Journal about where Marvel is and where it's going, and typical Kevin Feige stuff. I feel like he always gets asked this question every time he's interviewed. But he gave a very interesting answer, and that he said he felt audiences watching all Marvel content is more like homework than entertainment right now. And oh man, is that exactly what I was trying to say at the beginning of the show? I feel like Thunderbolts plays into that for me. It felt like you had to watch every other movie to get to this, read some of the comics to understand it, and you couldn't just go in without knowing anything and walk away enjoying it. And it feels like homework. And to Marvel's defense, a little bit, I have said the same thing about Star Wars. I've said the same thing about other franchises. Every movie or series, whatever it is, you should be able to go in fresh without knowing anything and still enjoy it to an extent. TV series are a little bit more detailed and they have more episodes, but for a movie at least, you should be able to go in, even if it's the second in the series, third in the series, eighth, whatever it is, Marvel 15th, and still understand what the storyline is and not have to see 4, 5, and 6 to understand it. And I appreciate him coming out and saying this because Marvel is a lot. It's gotten to a point that it's a lot. And I will admit, I am not up to date on my Marvel movies because it got to a point that it was just so crazy. There were so many, and it's like one's coming out every 2 months, and it's just hard to keep up with. And that's why I feel like because I got so overwhelmed, I just kind of stepped back. I was like, I'm going to wait until there's one that I really want to see, like Fantastic Four, start from the beginning with that series, and then maybe jump in with something else. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, people who listen to this show know I like Marvel. I mean, X-Men mostly more than any of it.
Yeah.
Punisher, of course. But beyond that, I'm not the hugest Marvel fan. I like the Jon Favreau stuff, of course. But after Endgame, which I didn't even love, I don't even think it's that good of a movie.
I didn't like Endgame either, but I feel like everybody holds that as like the
Well, it's
top
because
tier.
people have, if they were in the theater during the big moments, they have those forever memories, and that's amazing. I remember during the first hour of Endgame literally almost falling asleep. And that was just my experience. And I apologize to anybody who that upsets. That's just me. That's not me projecting to you. But that's just how I am with that. So after that, like they start up with all new players. You have a new Captain America. You have WandaVision. You have Agatha all along. All this stuff. Loki, and they just churn out all these series, and then they're connected to the movies, Black Widow, the Marvels. None of those really like drew me in, so I didn't watch those either. And it's like then before you know it, you look back and there's like 10 or 12 projects that I just didn't watch, and I had the same feeling that they're projecting here with the audience, is that I felt like I was disconnected. I feel behind. I feel lost, sort of like how I was with the High Republic. Like once that they started chugging all those out, I'm like, there's no way I'm reading all this, so I'm not even going to continue. And it's like with Marvel now, there's heat coming from DC because DC seems to be in a prime start to launch their story, where Marvel's like, we had our opus with Endgame. Now what's next? And clearly it's more Avengers. They're going to bring the old school people back, but I feel like this whole story is so interesting because it goes back to Bob Iger. They launched Disney Plus, and Bob Iger said, we need to churn here and chug out a lot of stuff. And Feige, I don't think was all that into it, but he sort of, if you read between the lines, he was like, I was being a good corporate citizen here. And I think he probably realized we're going to be doing too much here, and they certainly did. And now Disney's like, well, we got to pull it back now because these movies aren't making money. And like Captain America didn't do well, even with all the buzz about Harrison Ford being Red Hulk. I just think if people are being honest, the like second version of a character that you watch for so long is hard to accept. And it's like they had Steve Rogers for all that time with Chris Evans, and now they're like, but now this guy's going to be Captain America, and we're going to start this Captain America story. And I think people already were a little like, I'm kind of tired. Like, we got to do this again now. And they're doing it with all these new Avengers, and now you have the Thunderbolts being called the new Avengers, and they are going to try to do two big more grabs with Doomsday, with Robert Downey Jr., with the pivot after
which we talked about. They have like 40 people in that movie.
so
of
many
announced.
people.
Yeah.
And then Secret Wars or whatever the second one's going to be. I think it's Secret Wars. And then beyond that, you know, who knows? Because if they are dialing things back and Star Wars is doing the same thing as far as Disney Plus goes, you know, is it just going to be movies? And what is Marvel going to tell us in these future movies? Like, there's coming out with the fourth Spider-Man and Tom Holland's back, but Scarlett Johansson said she's done. Robert Downey Jr. came back for the big payday. How much longer is he going to be around with this whole Doctor Doom thing? It just, to me, seems uncertain. And for the first time, I feel that way about Marvel. I'm not saying I always loved all the Marvel stuff. I'm not the biggest fan, but I always felt like Marvel is got it.
Untouchable. Yeah.
They always put up those maps with the movies, and every one of them was made. Well, they all came out for the most part, and now it feels like they're not sure where they're at because they have some OGs still. A lot of people left. They're trying to build up these new actors that don't seem to be having the same sort of cachet as a lot of the original characters or actors. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I don't think it's Kevin Feige's fault. I think it's the Disney Plus thing is a huge part of this. It did not get to the heights that they were hoping it would get to. So now it's, oh, what are we blaming on? Oh, we just made too much content. It's like, well, Bob, that's what you said you wanted them to do because you knew you were leaving and you wanted Disney Plus to be this big final achievement of yours, and it didn't work out. And then you came back. And now it's like, now we got to dial things back a bit, and we're going to focus on making that one movie great and all those corporate narrative things that they always say.
Yeah.
It's
after he openly said writers like don't deserve to be paid. It's really hard to come back from that too, Bob.
It's a murky time for Marvel. Kevin Feige, if he stays there, he has every reason to earn the public trust because of what he achieved with the first 21 movies or whatever. But I don't know. Marvel seems like it's in a weird spot right now, and it's going to be interesting to see what Fantastic Four does, which I think will do well because I think people love Pedro Pascal. But that goes against DC, which is just starting. So that whole dynamic is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going back to what you said earlier about the new Avengers. They're trying to bank on Avengers fame or notoriety. If you look at the kind of box office grossing map that Wall Street Journal put together, the top movies that made the most money were Iron Man, The Avengers, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, which was the one I believe where all the Spider-Man came back, right?
Yep.
And then Deadpool and Wolverine was the recent hit for them in the past. I mean, besides Spider-Man, that was the big moneymaker for them for the past 5 years.
And if we're being, how much of that billion, like you and I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and
we did.
Would it be fair to say like a third of that box office is because Hugh Jackman came back as Wolverine when he said he was done? Like, people wanted to see Wolverine again.
100%. And No Way Home was all the Spider-Man back together again.
Yep.
So it's a nostalgic thing. People love nostalgia. It's just
these big moments disguised by the word multiverse. And the question is, do these big moments sustain over time? Like, is Spider-Man No Way Home or Avengers Endgame in 30 years going to be looked at the way classic movies are looked at? Or is it just because of the big moment when it came out? So that's going to be
I don't even look at the other Spider-Man movies like I do with the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, or even the second one, which is the one everybody loves, Spider-Man 2. I don't think anybody looks at those Spider-Man movies like they look at Spider-Man 2. Even though Tom Holland is good. I'm not saying he's not good.
He is great.
I'm saying the movie as a whole, people don't look at it as like a classic, like Iron Man. People look back and say Iron Man is like top tier superhero movie. They're not going to look back at Thor, Love and Thunder and think, man, Thor, Love and Thunder was such a good film. It's
Yeah.
just, it's interesting to see. Speaking of franchises, though, Stranger Things is making its way back this year, which I'm excited about. It's been
Finally.
forever since we've seen it. It's time to wrap this thing up. Let's get it going. But that is actually not what this story is. It's kind of part of that, which is Stranger Things Tales from 85, an animated Stranger Things spin-off series, is happening. It is animated. Netflix announced this animated series in 2023, and finally it's happening, which the brothers said that we've always dreamed of an animated Stranger Things in the vein of Saturday morning cartoons that we grew up loving, and to see this dream realized has been absolutely thrilling. We couldn't be more blown away by what Eric Robles and his team have come up with. The scripts and artwork are incredible, and we can't wait to share more with you. The adventure continues. So yeah, they're looking at this as like, hey, this is what we always dreamed of this series, which they released kind of like a script image that says Stranger Things Tales from 85, which Tales from 85 is upside down. Clever.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just a different take on the kids, battling different creatures from the upside down. And it also not only has the Duffer Brothers as executive producers, but it has Sean Levy as an executive producer and Dan Cohen on behalf of 21 Lamps, their production company. So Sean Levy is very much into Stranger Things. It's very clear.
Yeah.
Not only is
Oh,
he
yeah.
directing it, but he's into other projects as well. Will you be watching this?
I'll definitely check it out. I like Stranger Things a lot. The fact that it's Tales from 85, that means it's the year before season 4, which I believe was 86 because the whole Master of Puppets thing, Eddie Munson. But I think this is going to be like, they said it's going to be more like Saturday morning cartoons. I'm getting like a Scooby-Doo vibe, more like it's going to be more light. It's not going to be as heavy and dark as the show. So it'll take place. And did they use the word canon at all or anything? Like, is it
They
going to be
didn't.
like...
I was actually, as you were talking, I was kind of laughing in my head, being like, what are the canon ramifications
Right, yeah.
of this series?
Yeah, what's the Stranger
We've been
Things
trained.
canon?
We've been trained
Yeah.
by Star Wars that,
Right.
is it canon? I don't think
Yeah.
it is. I think this is just a silly tale that they're using the characters to have these funny little moments, and maybe
Yeah.
they'll wink at it from another, the next season. They might make a, hey, remember that time this happened in the script, but then it
Yeah.
references the cartoon series. But
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be like he even told, I think it was Josh Horowitz podcast, Happy Sad Confused, that it's 1,000% different than the series, but it takes place in the same universe. It's how they tell these stories. So I'll check it out. It'll be interesting. Curious to see what it's like, and then maybe introduce it to Johnny if it's not like too scary or anything. And then maybe in a couple years he dips his toe into actual Stranger Things. It could be a nice little launch pad for kids to get into Stranger Things, because if we're being honest, it's a pretty scary show. So especially if you're a kid. So
that last season was brutal.
Yeah, and things are happening to kids. It's almost like Nightmare on Elm Street in that way. So I'm gonna check it out. I know they're gonna put a lot of care behind it. If Sean Levy's attached, it's not one of those things where they're just putting the brand stamp on it, slightly in the way that I was alluding to the new Avengers thing. But I feel like it'll be a good product because they know the value of the brand, and they don't want to immediately the next project after the main series ends be terrible. Then it's like, well, then maybe Stranger Things was just that. And by all interviews of the past few years, the Duffer Brothers want this to become almost like a universe. So they're not going to just make this show and have it be a stinker and just slap Stranger Things on it so Netflix makes a lot of money. It seems like they're going to put some care into it. It's going to be a completely different animal, and I'll check it out.
They've been doing the Stranger Things haunted houses at Universal every year for our Halloween horror nights for like years, and they have the ET ride down there with the bikes. And for years, I've thought, oh my God, are they going to take this bike ride and make it Stranger Things themed instead of ET? Because it would you could slide that right in there. The bikes are already built. It's like you literally just changing out the scenery, which would make me sad because I love the ET ride. But it makes me think of like what you're saying, like they're trying to build a franchise, they're trying to build this bigger thing.
Yeah.
I think the animated series is a way also to funnel younger kids into Stranger Things as they grow up, because they don't want this series to be a flash in the pan, like pop culture moment of the 2010s. You know, they want it to have more longevity over time of like being an ET.
Like a
Speaking of
legacy,
ET.
yeah.
Yeah. So I could see this being something that comes out that maybe funnels younger audiences eventually into Stranger Things or like a family type thing. Yeah, I'll like you said, I'll check it out too, but it's not something I'm like, "Oh my god, so excited," but I'm interested.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very excited for Stranger Things season 5. Like, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if you're excited about this next thing, because this is, you mentioned nightmare and it might just be someone's nightmare, which is Deadline has announced that 10 Things I Hate About You director Gil Junger plans sequel trilogy with nod to Heath Ledger, saying, quote, "He deserves to be loved," which they're announcing they're doing 10 Things I Hate About You is a modern retelling, obviously, and they want to do of William Shakespeare, sorry. And they're going to do 3 separate movies. 10 Things I Hate About Dating, 10 Things I Hate About Marriage, and 10 Things I Hate About Parenting. Did I have that correct?
Yep.
And or no, sorry, 10 Things I Hate About Kids, which they're hoping that Julia Stiles signs up for it again, but obviously they can't have Heath Ledger. Sadly, he's no longer with us. And this is probably one of the most bizarre announcements I've seen in the past years. We were just talking about nostalgia, about how people show up for it. They want it, they crave it, they look back on good times, they want to go back to those movies that they loved, and nothing is safe. So, John, what are your thoughts? I like this movie. It's not one of my favorites, but it's a good movie.
So what's interesting about this is he attempted this 11 years ago.
Oh my god.
They started filming a 10 Things I Hate About Life movie starring Evan Rachel Wood, and it canceled during filming.
Why?
I'm trying to read up on it now.
Oh.
In February 2013, it was announced that the film's producer, Gary Smith, was stepping down from his position, and that filming for the movie would be put on hold. And the company said it was not because of his departure, but due to Evan Rachel Wood's pregnancy, and that filming would resume that September. After several months of no shooting, it was announced the film would recommence after a several-month break. And then in June, it was reported that Evan Rachel Wood was being sued for $30 million by the producers for refusing to continue work on the film. And her lawyers dismissed it as preposterous and said she stopped working on it after producers failed to pay her. So, and Gil Junger was the director and writer of that. So that doesn't sound good. And now he's like...
So what happened then? Did she pay? Did they pay? Did nobody pay?
They're probably one of those things.
Settled privately?
As of 2021, the lawsuit has not been resolved, and the film, as started, will never be completed. So there's that. And now he's like, I hope everyone forgot about that, especially Evan Rachel Wood, because now I want to do 3 of them. And you know, the dude's 70 now. He hasn't really done a lot since.
Is he riding
10
on
Things I
the
Hate
high
About
of
You.
that movie or something?
So this whole thing sounds strange to me. When you say the names of the rumored sequels, it makes me think of like, you know, meet the Fockers, meet the little Fockers, and meet the blah. And it's like, that movie was a time capsule. It was a perfect, you know, it's obviously a remake of Taming of the Shrew, William Shakespeare, which I read in college. And it was a modern take, but it was very 1998, 1999. Like, it was a nice little time capsule. Now, he alluded to the potential of some of those other casts coming back. So to me, it sounds like he wants to make it tied to the original. So what does that mean? Julia Stiles married Heath Ledger's character. He dies off screen, and she's a single mom, and now she's dating again, and that's the first one.
Which
and then
is
she gets
Bridget
married.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like you said, that is a bizarre story. If we were doing the whole like Rolodex of ideas, the Jimmy Fallon thing, I would never expect this to come up as something that was real, but here it is, and I'm not going to see it. So 10 things I hate about this idea.
Yeah,
think I
I
just listed
would
them.
I would definitely agree with that. As someone that's a big rom-com teen movie girl, it just seems so like a money grab. Like I don't know what the point of this is, especially given the history that you just stated with the other movie. It just seems like this is done in bad faith, and it's just being like, I'm gonna have my last big hurrah. Let
But
me
3 of them?
grab.
Like what?
I don't know, but it just seems like, hey, everybody likes this 90s stuff now. Maybe they'll like this. And it's too much. Although I will say that high school in that movie is insane.
I
And that's an
know.
actual school.
Yeah, so many
It's in Seattle.
high schools in movies are like palaces.
Yeah, it's like a prep
Yeah,
school or something in Seattle.
yeah,
I looked it up once.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm ready to move on to the next thing because I actually care about this next thing.
yeah. So let's get into trailer time.
Oh God, I love that movie.
All right, we got 2 trailers. One, I'll just say this. On the channel, youtube.com/@TRB podcast, we have our first watch reaction to Squid Game Season 3's teaser. So
We do.
be sure to check that out. We always do this. We think it's
It's
going
like
to be
15 minutes.
yeah, it's like 15 minutes. So we do most of our talking on that. So Lacey, I don't know if you wanted to pepper anything in, but for the sake of our audience, if they're going to watch that, I don't think we need to get fully back into it here. So do you have any just quick things you wanted to pepper in on Squid Game?
Highlights.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see this series come to an end. I'm hoping that it is true to what the creator wanted, because originally he only wanted 2 seasons. Netflix pushed him to 3. So I'm hoping he's still getting his full story that he wanted to tell, and isn't being told or dictated to how to end it. I'm excited to see some of the characters coming back again. I'm interested to see where some of the conflict and dynamics and drama like end up, especially with the game makers versus Lee Jung Jae's character. We see glimpses of old characters from season 1, which are like big question mark. And then the thing that made me the most anxious in our review of season 2, if you want to go back in the feed on the podcast or YouTube, you can find our season 2 discussion for Squid Game.
I got to watch that.
The girl that's pregnant is like one of my biggest like anxiety
Concerns. Yeah.
concerns for this series, and I'm sure that's done purposely, but you hear a baby cry in the teaser trailer at the end, which means she has the baby. Is the baby okay? Is the baby all right? Is the baby...
And I think the baby's going to show up early because Squid Game likes to torture their audience.
Yes, they do. But yeah, I hope they take the whole thing down. But as we know, Netflix is working on more of a universe pull of David Fincher's doing the American version. So then it seems like, hey, these things exist all over the place. So I'm
Right, they
interested
do
to
the
see if they're
Squid
going to set
Games.
that up
Yeah.
in America.
By the way,
Yeah.
I'll bet money that her water breaks in the middle of a game. Like when the pressure's
like
on.
the fight game or something. Yeah.
She's doing something where it's like on her to do something, and all of a sudden we're gonna see the water
Well, the
break.
baby cries, so the baby must come out at some point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like she's gonna go into labor in the middle of a game, and they're gonna have to get her out of there so she survives.
Yeah, or someone's going to sacrifice themselves so she can live.
You love a good sacrifice, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go see her.
Andor's really infected her.
I'm like, I said it in our trailer reaction, is like, I have very low energy in that. And it's because we had just watched this arc for Andor, is 7, 8, 9, which is very kind of, it's a lot.
Heavy.
Very
Yeah.
draining. So to go into something like this, that they're like, hey, guess what? More people are dying, Lacey. You're like, I can only take so much death today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on a lighter note, you have James Gunn's Peacemaker season 2 with John Cena, new teaser out, new uniform, the anti-hero. I don't know much about Peacemaker because I didn't watch season 1, so I do have to get
Neither
caught
do
up
I.
because this is I believe this is going to be part of DC canon, so I gotta get my mom's Max login and watch this. But I think our password's one of our old dogs. So we'll see. But John Cena's fun. I watch. Oh, that was another movie. I'll get into what you're watching. I totally forgot to add to the list. But John Cena's fun. He's back doing his wrestling thing. He's a heel now, and this Peacemaker is this anti-hero, and it looks like it's a fun series because it's sort of like how when superhero movies get grounded to like Everyday USA, and I sort of like that. Sort of like The Boys does that, obviously. So it looks fun. I just don't know enough about it, honestly. So I gotta watch season 1 and get caught up. But it looks like a good trailer. James Gunn is awesome. So until he really stumbles, I'm gonna assume he's gonna make a good product. So, and people are like, "Oh yeah, John, you just dog on Marvel and you're just love everything about DC, even if you've never watched it." But I'm probably gonna check this out. But I am gonna get caught up on season 1.
Nice. You want to get into what we are watching, since we just were like, we haven't really watched this, but look.
Yeah, if you have no thoughts on it, that's fine.
I don't.
Yeah. All right.
I like John Cena, but I don't.
You can't see this segment. Let's go.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Lacey Gilleran, what have you watched in the last month?
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. I haven't watched a ton of TV, just outside of Andor, because that is a lot, guys. That and Light and Magic. We watched collectively, what is it? 12, 15 hours of television in the span of like 2 weeks. It was a lot. If you want to see our thoughts on those series, Andor is still going on, obviously, with the K2S show, but
Yeah.
Light and Magic, we gave our review recently. I think it was a really, really good episode. I'm proud of it. I really loved that series, especially season 2. So check
And those
that
are all
out.
on the Resistance Broadcast
Yes,
podcast
can't-
feed, but also
highly
here on the YouTube channel.
Yes, can't say enough wonderful things about both of those. As for other stuff that I've been watching The Studio with Seth Rogen, which just got renewed for season 2 by Apple.
Yes.
It's so good, John. It's
Is
so
it funny?
good.
It's funny?
It is hilarious. It
All right.
is a mixture of like behind the scenes movie stuff, which I love. And Seth Rogen said for season 2 he's going to tell even more personal stories. It's done by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, who did Superbad. So it's like that similar humor too, which I love. They play off each
Yep.
other really well. The cinematography and the camera work's amazing, and the blocking's great. It's kind of like Curb episodes or like Seinfeld episodes where things just always go wrong. And it's like hilarious to watch everything just
Are they
turn
all
into
sort of
chaos.
tied together in a way?
A little bit. It's about running a movie studio. So
Yeah.
it's really good. Highly recommend. Seth Rogen is an absolute hilarious person to somewhat root for, but also kind of laugh at and hate. Like you're
Is
like, oh,
he-
this guy kind of sucks.
Is he Seth Rogen in the show, pretty much?
No.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No,
I don't mean literally, but I mean, sometimes he plays the same type of stoner.
He's not a he's like very like anxious. Like he's a like anxious, like over pretentious, like I know art type guy.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
there's a lot of amazing cameos. One of the best is Ron Howard. So get ready for that.
I saw a clip of that, I think.
It's insane. And then Bryan Cranston plays like the studio head before him. And
Don't
where's
give
like
away
this
too
whole,
much.
it's just so good. Go watch it and let me know what you think. On the plane to Japan, I watched Top Gun Maverick twice, to no one's surprise. But I also watched Wild Robot, which was incredible, amazing. Cried watching it. It's very much. Have you watched it?
Nope.
Oh, it's a story of like a robot that basically is a mother to an animal.
Okay.
It was very Mandalorian to me. It's like this robot.
Is it
shows
Mark
up.
Hamill in it?
Mark Hamill is in it. I didn't realize he was in it until the credits. He plays a bear in it. But Pedro Pascal, funny I said the Mandalorian, plays a fox. But I said this to John after I watched it, is it felt very much like they were like, hey, Pedro, we need you to be Jason Bateman from Zootopia, but like not. So can you be that character who's also a fox? And I'm not saying
Gotcha.
Pedro's not
Yeah.
good, because he's very good. but the mannerisms and the way they speak and the way they act is very Zootopia. So that's the one critique I have, is like it's a little too similar for me. The only difference is this character doesn't wear clothes. It's like an actual fox. But Lupita is the robot. She's amazing. And yeah, it's just a lot of like parenting and motherly moments that really got to me. Like really kind of like watching your kids grow up stuff.
Nice.
Like, oh
Yeah. Oh yeah. The existentialism is getting you.
yep. And then the other thing I watched, which I was totally caught off guard by how much I loved it, which was Wicked. I had held off watching it for a while. I watched it with the true cinematic experience I'm sure John M. Chu hoped for, which was on a tiny screen on a plane going to Tokyo and then also going back because I watched it a second time. It was incredible. Cynthia was amazing, who plays the main character Alphaba. Ariana Grande, or Ariana Butera Grande Butera, whatever she goes by now. So good. I don't think they got the recognition they deserved during award season. Like, I think they were really snubbed sometimes in the nominations. And especially Ariana Grande. Like, I don't know how she lost to Zoe Saldana for whatever, Amelia Perez or what. Like, the two things are not the same.
we know it came out recently that Oscar voters aren't watching these movies.
I don't know what it was. I know
it's all ridiculous.
I know the Cynthia one, they didn't vote for her because they said she was too old to play the character, which is insane because her talent and level of skill in acting and especially in singing is like, you can't watch that film and be like, oh my God. And then she performed at the Oscars and all the Oscar voters afterwards anonymously were like, that was one of the best performances I've ever seen. I was like, did you watch the movie? And now we know they didn't. But it was amazing. The sets, the music, the acting, the dancing. It was just like a big spectacle. That is what made me fall in love with movies. And I very much look forward to the second one, which I will probably see in the movie theater.
Nice.
It was amazing. It also made me cry. I cried during Defying Gravity. It was amazing. A lot of crying. What about you, John?
When she's singing about the western sky and stuff, right?
Oh my God. So powerful.
Find me. Give me the Oscar right now.
Come on, she's so good. You can't. I know you said you didn't really like it, but you can't defy. Oh my God, defy. You can't deny that she's very talented. She's very talented.
No, she is. They're all great. The Ariana Grande latte is fantastic. And
I was doing the hair flip all through Celebration. Made me laugh.
Was that it? That's what you watched, right?
That's it for now.
All right. I did some watching on the plane as well. I did get anytime. I'll usually watch if a Star Wars movie's available. I'll watch one of those. If an Indiana Jones movie's available, I'll usually watch one of those. Last Crusade, watched it twice.
I was gonna say you watched it there and back.
Yeah, it's my comfort movie.
You fell asleep to it.
I dozed. Then I watched a bunch of movies. I finally watched Gladiator 2, which I thought was good, but not good enough. I thought the best part of the movie, character-wise, strength-wise, was probably Denzel Washington. I don't think Paul Mescal lived up to the legacy of the role of a lifetime for Russell Crowe with Maximus. So, and then the villains weren't as good as Commodus, Joaquin Phoenix. I do like that Connie Nielsen was back for the connectivity. I do like some of the choices they made, and it was like really well shot. Ridley Scott's 112 years old, and he still just brings it. But it just didn't live up to it for me. It was good, solid, but it didn't live up to Gladiator, and that's fine. Juror number 2, I watched, and that I believe is a Clint Eastwood movie, directed anyway. Yes, and that stars Lex Luthor himself, Nicholas Hoult. And the premise is this guy is selected to be a juror, and he might have too close of a connection to what went on to be standing there as a juror. And that's all I'm going to say.
Ooh. Was it good?
Very good. A lot of suspense. Nicholas Hoult is great, so I'm even more excited to see him as Lex Luthor. I thought it was a really, really good movie. and the ending was very interesting as well. So I highly recommend that. Clint Eastwood always directs great movies, though. Then I saw Jackpot, which is the movie where Aquafina, like, it's this dystopian movie. Everyone loves these dystopian things where these people win the lottery.
Was this on the plane too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
saw this. You watching this too?
People win the lottery, and then people have to try to kill them to win their money. And John Cena like plays her like protector, and he takes a cut of what people win as long as he keeps them safe. It's not a good movie, but it was entertaining enough if you want to completely shut your brain off and watch something. But it was too long, and it wasn't that good. But if you just want to have a romp, check it out. Don't pay for it though. Obviously, still watching the Yankees chugging along. Aaron Judge revenge tour is real. I told you it was going to be real. The dude is doing godly things at the plate and in right field. I watched two more things. Hulu's new series, which Simu Liu?
Yep, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. It's funny, I was talking about Aquafina, but he's like the host, like the Nick Lachey of the show, which is all about people who are like sort of celebs, like Heidi Montag's husband's on it. You know, those types
Spencer.
of people. Yeah. And the whole premise is you have to get clues to when certain windows are going to open in this mansion so that you can try to escape. But everyone else in the house plays the role of alarm ringer. So there's people up top, there's people down below, and they hit a button and the gates close. So this whole series is about people trying to run to win upwards of $1 million and escape. It's a good premise. They made too many rules, too convoluted. It didn't land for me, and I don't think they'll make it again. So if you like those types of reality games, check it out. It's on Hulu. It's called Gotta Get Out. Not one of the best though. And then this, Lacey, I totally forgot I had watched this movie on the plane. It was like surprisingly good, but we talked about the trailer on this show.
We did?
Yes, it's about he plays a cop.
Is it the Kevin Bacon one?
Podcast host. Greedy People.
Oh, Greedy People.
So it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Hamish Patel and Lily James. I actually recommend people watch this movie. It is a crime comedy, but it has some darkness to it, and it's basically about all these people in this small, like, I think like Rhode Island town, and somebody unearths a hell of a lot of money, and the word gets around, and who turns on who, and it's like one of those types of movies. I would say, like Heartbreakers, if you've seen that with Sigourney Weaver and Jennifer Love Hewitt, but a little darker. There's certainly some edge to it, and the end gets a little like serious, but I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining. Again, it's called Greedy People. I'm not sure where it's available for streaming, but I recommend people check it out.
Nice.
It is on video on demand. Should be now.
I saw you watching that because I remember Lily James.
Oh, when I saw Baby Driver, I like fell in love with her. I was like, I think the character more than her, but I like Deborah in Baby Driver. I'm like, oh my god, she's adorable.
She's amazing in a Literary Potato Peel Pie Society. I always get the title wrong.
I think she's always good. Yeah, she was. Like,
she's with Glenn Powell in that movie.
Oh, okay. And then she got a lot of praise for her role as Pam Anderson in the Pam and Tommy thing they did.
I haven't watched that yet. Yeah,
I didn't either, but she looked the part. They did a great job with the makeup anyway. But that is what I've been watching. So now let's get to our new segment that we talked about, which, Lacey, what are we calling this thing?
You're the worst. Is that what?
Yeah, you've called me that before, so that's how I knew.
You're the worst.
It can't be you. You're just the worst.
So the way that this works is we're getting a little negative, but not too negative, guys. In a fun way. In a fun way. You're the worst is our kind of top 3 worst of something. So it can be roles of an actor, TV show, movie genre, etc.
We should even do food one day, like worst burger.
Sure. It's just a way to have fun and just rag on each other a little bit. So you're the worst.
Worst meal at Disney Tokyo Sea.
My God. still get messages about that like weeks later, that people were like the anxiety they felt hearing about
I
that
still
dinner.
hear the crunch of the mackerel in my head.
Oh my gosh. So in honor of Mother's Day, which was yesterday,
Happy Mother's Day,
to
Lacey, by
all
the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
To all the moms out there and grandmas and sisters and whoever likes to celebrate. Happy Mother's Day. We're kicking it off with the top 3 of each of ours worst mothers in TV and film. So we each chose 3. I'm gonna go first because I'm the
Okay.
mother here.
Are we alternating?
Yeah, I'm the mom,
Alright.
so I'm gonna go first.
Yep.
I'm gonna kick it off with Victoria Grayson from the show Revenge.
Lay it on me.
Have you ever seen the show Revenge?
No.
Okay. So Revenge was a movie that came out in the 2000s. It starred Emily Van Camp, I believe her last name is. She was Sharon in the Marvel series, Sharon Carter.
Mm-hmm.
So she plays the daughter of this guy. So these 2 people, they live in the Hamptons, rich people, and then this one guy next door. And she's the daughter because the mom, Victoria Grayson, it's like very confusing, basically frames him and puts him in jail. So she has to then go into foster care. She loses her father. She loses her happy home because of this rich woman, Victoria Grayson. Victoria Grayson will sacrifice the needs of her children, of her family, of whoever that stands in her way to stay wealthy, to stay powerful, to stay in control. She is the absolute terrible, terrible, rich woman villain. And she is basically the number 1 person in the show that you love to hate.
Oh, the TV show.
It is a TV show, yes.
Okay.
She's done terrible stuff to her kids, like sacrificing their well-being. She's not affectionate. She just cares about being a big B in the Hamptons and like running parties and having money. So anytime that something gets in the way of her being comfortable in that status, or the way that it might take away her family's wealth, because her husband gets into sketchy stuff in the first place, and that's why they're wealthy. So she basically is the person that hides the bodies. Like she's the terrible person that makes things happen. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying she is a bad mom. She doesn't care about her kids. She just cares about herself.
No
And
good.
she's, the worst.
No good.
Go ahead.
All right. My first one is going to be Livia Soprano, Tony's mom from The Sopranos. She tries to have her own son killed. So,
Wait, what? Why?
well, because she was making deals with her brother, who is his uncle, and they didn't like how Tony was running the family business. So she was, and I think she had thoughts. I have to go back and rewatch again, but she had
You
thoughts
love
that
this show.
Tony was trying to get rid of her. So, and she's also, we're getting a little of the dementia going on, so she's not all there as well. But she did get involved with a brief plot to try to take Tony out. Also, she's just like, you ever see Throw Mama from the Train, like that old woman who's from like the Goonies, like just a really insufferable person.
Yes.
Who's
Oh,
just,
that's a good one for this honorable mention.
that is a good one. Yeah. Now that we mentioned it, but like she's sort of like exactly like that. She's just an unlikable person, constantly complaining, constantly angry, and she tried to have her son killed. And Sopranos is one of my favorite shows of all time. I think it's one of the most heralded shows of all time. So I had to toss Livia Soprano on the list.
That's a good choice. You talk about that show a lot, so I feel like I should watch it, but I feel like it's not something I would enjoy.
Depends.
Maybe. My next choice is something that is more on the comedy angle of like, hey, it's hilarious that she's a bad mom, but she's still a terrible mom. And it's Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development.
Yes.
One of the ultimate hilarious bad moms that exist. Now, honorable mention also on my list was Regina George's mom, Mrs. George from Mean Girls at one point today, which then got deleted because I picked someone better. But Lucille Bluth is self-centered, narcissistic, kind of dumb a little bit. Like she just
A little
doesn't.
racist.
Yeah, just the infamous here's $1, go see a Star War, like rude to Job, baby's Buster, baby's Buster to the point that like he can't function and he has like a hook hand, like just
Yeah,
terrible,
yeah.
terrible
I don't
things.
understand the question and I
Undermines
refuse to
Michael,
answer it. Yeah.
treats Lindsay terribly. One of my favorite moments from the show is actually something that she does, which is Lindsay's in that cage and she's protesting and there's a pole in the middle of it and they're spraying water on Lindsay and she's basically pole dancing and she drives by and she's like, whore. And she goes, that girl needs a mother. And she's the mother.
Right.
It's such a good moment. I have never laughed harder at that show than that moment. But yeah, she's just a mom that you laugh at, but you also love to hate because she's just that terrible.
She's despicable. Yeah. Yeah. Good pick. I'm going to continue the despicable trend and go with Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones. Obvious reasons, of course, if you've watched Game of Thrones. I don't want to spoil too much if people are going to start watching Game of Thrones, but she has children with her own brother, for one thing.
Who's her son? Is it Joffrey?
Joffrey.
Yeah. Joffrey. Yeah.
Yeah. And she has, more than one kid, of course, but Joffrey, she just turns him into this monster just so that she can get her hooks into the kingdom. And he's despicable because of just how she is. It's like what we always say about the fruit falling.
I know
from
how
the tree.
he dies because the poor actor was like, everybody hated me so bad that they had to kill me off in the worst way.
In the worst way. Yeah, he is a despicable character, and it doesn't come far from who she is as a character, because the amount of murder she's involved in, backstabbing, hurting her own family, just an absolutely evil character through and through, from soup to nuts. So Cersei Lannister, no other explanation needed.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I'm looking at our list now. The 3 things you chose I've never seen. And you haven't seen one of mine. But like it's just so funny because we had talked about this originally. And one of the things, behind the scenes fun, we were talking about doing blind rankings because they've been coming up all the time. John was like, hey, this would be fun. And I was like, I don't know if we could do that, only because you watch different things than me. So you might throw someone out and I have no idea who that is. So these are all characters that like I know the naming of them, but I don't know too much about the shows. My last pick, I'm leaning back into the just you're a terrible person. And I didn't mention this in what you're watching, but I did watch this on the plane, which is Titanic.
Oh, yep.
So it's fresh in my mind. Just watched this recently, but
so it's
still,
the iceberg.
No.
Oh.
It is Rose's mom, Ruth DeWitt Bukater. She is an absolutely horrific person. I didn't realize until watching it now, which side fun story tangent. The first time this movie came out, I was in 4th grade. And I made my mom go to the theater with me 4 times to see it. Wow. It was 12 something hours of trauma for my mother, because I didn't fully understand or grasp the concept that all these people were dying. I just saw Leonardo DiCaprio is so hot and I love Rose and they do it. Oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah, that's why I wanted to see it. The death stuff just didn't matter to me. That being said, I rewatched it now and I started tearing up and it was very sad. And the ending is horrific, where you see like people in their beds realizing they're going to die and stuff.
With their children, yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Horrific. So apologize to Sharon for making you sit through that 4 times. You know, it's so funny. I vividly remember sitting in the theater at one point and looking over at her and she was crying. And everybody else in the theater was crying. And I was in 4th grade, so I was like, why are they crying? Jesus. Anyway. Ruth DeWitt Bukater is the worst. And she is the worst because she basically sold her daughter to this guy, Billy Zane's character, who abuses her, treats her terribly, treats her as an object just to better herself and keep, similar to Victoria Grayson, her wealth, her status, and her overall protection. Because from what we understand from Titanic is that Rose's dad died and left them with nothing except like debt. So basically Rose is Ruth's ticket out of being poor. So she parades her around and basically sells her off at the highest bidder, which is Billy Zane's character, who is fabulous, by the way, in this movie. He is so good. Everyone in that movie is good, but like Billy Zane's great.
He is.
And the part
Great
where
wig.
she's putting on her corset and she's just like, you better calm down, mom, or you're going to get a nosebleed. And she like tightens her thing and she's like, do you want to see me be poor? Do you want to see me sewing items on the street? Do you want to see our things sold for auction? And Rose is sitting there like, oh my God. Like, circling back to what I said before, the thing I learned on the plane was Rose is 17 in that movie. I did not know Rose was 17. I just always assumed she was older because, I don't know, assumption I made. So first of all, James Cameron, why is Rose 17? But I guess it's kind of relevant to the time period.
So,
yep.
maybe because of she has to be alive still, and she was 100.
That's
so
probably
if she was
why.
older,
It's probably a
then
math
it's like,
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a math thing. But anyway, yeah, Rose is the worst. Or not Rose. Ruth is the worst.
Yeah, well, Rose is the worst too. We can get into that another time. All right, my last pick is from Sons of Anarchy. It is Gemma Teller, played by Katie Seagal. I don't want to give too many spoilers about this one either, in case people plan to watch it, because it is a great series. Kurt Sutter, just from season 1 to season 7, just like The Sopranos, like maybe a couple bumps here and there, but
is it the
strong
same
finish.
showrunner?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I didn't know that.
Who happens to be her husband, Katie Seagal's husband. So Gemma Teller is Jax, the main character's mother, and
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam, yeah, is Jax, and he's like the main character.
Mhm.
And she's married to this guy Clay, who's played by Ron Perlman, who's his stepfather because his real father died. And as the story unravels, you learn things about Gemma and Clay and the past, and then also in the present, choices and things she makes that causes a chain reaction of lies that leads to death and disorder and tragedy in order for her to just save face with her son. It is very Shakespearean, but she just does some truly awful and evil things just to make sure she's still in good graces with her son and therefore her grandsons, because Jax has 2 kids. So without getting too far into it, because I do think people should watch this show because it's just really, really good. Gemma Teller is, and you learn every season new things that she either did in the past or she's doing in the present time of the story.
So he gave Seagal like the best character of all time to play.
A great character. Like the thing about Katie Seagal is everyone's always going to think of her as like Peg Bundy.
Married with
but
Children,
then but then once this show came out, people are like, "Oh, Gemma Teller, like what a great character." So and it's really cool because, you know, she's in her late 40s, maybe early 50s when they made this, and you know, maybe sometimes, especially for a woman actor, you know, it's hard for them to find really good roles as they get older, unfortunately, because of how the business is. You got to look good,
like
you have to
best
look
of her
young.
career.
And it's a double standard for women. It's harder for them to get roles. There are some, obviously, who buck the trend, like Meryl Streep and what have you, but for the most part, a lot of women actors have a hard time once they reach a certain age, and it sucks. So the fact that she was able to come in, yes, her husband was the showrunner, but she does a phenomenal job. She's such a great performer that makes me hate her that much. Just a great, despicable character that at some points you hope she figures it out. It's one of those you want to root for her a little bit, but then you find out more bad things, and it just gets to a point where it becomes too much, and everything blows up pretty good. But yeah, Gemma Teller is my last pick. So
Nice.
Lacey, a very successful list. So you picked
Of the worst.
You picked Victoria Grayson from Revenge, the TV show from the early 2010s. Lucille Bluth from Arrested Development, and Ruth DeWitt Picator, Rose's mom from Titanic. And mine are Olivia Soprano from The Sopranos, Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones, and Gemma Teller from Sons of Anarchy. 6 pretty good candidates for being the worst as far as mothers go. So Happy
I wanna
Mother's
know
Day to
everyone
all the mothers
else's.
out there except them.
Everybody but them. I wanna know what everybody else thought who's the worst mom, because I'm sure there were a couple that I was kind of like they were on my list. So Lorelai Gilmore was one of them. Like, everybody always like, "Oh, she's the cool mom." I was like,
Oh,
"Actually,
there's
she's a
plenty
pretty
to choose
terrible."
from. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I'm interested to see what people think in the comments or message us on social media. We'd
Because
love
I
to
almost
hear.
did Norman Bates's mother. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's plenty to choose from. Maybe next year we'll do another round of the worst mothers part 2. But thanks to everybody for and let us know what you think about this segment. We may do food, we may do other movie characters, we could do the worst anything. It's just a fun segment that we would like you to, like Lacey said, let us know your picks as well. To see if we have similar picks or if you come out of left field with something that I'm like, I wish I picked that. It's all about having a good time. So thank you so much to everybody for listening and watching and getting nerdy with us on a Monday. It's good to be back on Nerdy and Nice. So thanks for hanging tight. Please continue to spread the word and follow us, Nerdy and Nice Pod, on social media. And also, of course, subscribe to the podcast on its own feed. Apple, Spotify, other podcast apps, Nerdy and Nice. Check us out, subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. And of course, TRB. TRBpodcast.com is the website, and our Patreon, patreon.com/TRB podcast. If you like what we do on Nerdy and Nice and TRB or one or the other, we do content for both on there. $5 $5 to start your support of us, and it goes a long way. So thank you all so much. Lacey, where can people find you and chat about the worst mothers on our list?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran or on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran. And of course on TRB, talking about Andor right now, which we will not be back this week. We'll be back next week.
21st to talk
Yes.
about BBY1 with a special guest. It's going to be fun. For me, Johnny Hoey on Blue Sky and also on X. And that is all for now for us. So we want to thank everybody so much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, because next week we won't have Nerdy and Nice, as we talked about earlier. 2 weeks back for another episode of Nerdy and Nice. Star Wars fans, this Wednesday, next Wednesday, the 21st, to talk about the final episodes. It's like 1 a.m. here, guys.
But make sure you're following us on social media, because we will be giving live updates of our travels and adventures, which people liked from Japan. So
yes, absolutely.
basically a bunch of videos of me zooming in on John's face. I was going through my videos of Japan, and it was just me being like continually doing this to you. I don't know why.
That's all right.
It's going to be a reel of just me being like zooming in and John being like,
it's getting real close.
There's one of me like at the bar, and I'm like this, and I just kind of tilt the camera to you, and you're like drinking and talking to someone, and you're just looking at me like.
Well, sometimes you don't know if people are doing a video or they're taking a picture. If they're just
I'm always doing
TikTok.
video. I'm always doing video.
But anyway, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Thank you all so much, and until next time, we'll see you around, kids.